Steve.
How are we starting with this again?
Always, man. This is the high for you.
It's starting to get
Look at that.
Standard now. 8 points ahead.
Is it 8 points? Jeez.
8 points ahead of second.
I don't know if that was a penalty though at the end.
That was apparently 100%.
Come on, man. He like just dived across.
You can't kick somebody in the ankle.
He didn't kick him. Put his foot down and he just like leaped over.
Mate, just be happy that your team's actually winning games.
Man, they're barely winning games. Unlike
Oh, don't start. Oh, damn. Shit morning.
Reda, mate, what's going on?
I don't know.
I don't know what's bad, your team or how tight that shirt is on you right now.
I'd say both.
Both?
Is that like a kid's XL?
No, it's definitely not a kid. It's just a tight fit PSG
I don't know.
shirt.
What's the verdict?
Do they make it for boys?
Men.
Men?
Yeah.
Maybe it is from like the women's line. Like,
Yeah, the women's.
I guess.
It
He's like,
fits
order
you
the
quite
medium.
tight. Yeah. It looks like
Stop
skins.
flexing. Man.
It does look like skins.
It looks like
it's a really
skins.
tight fit.
But at least United can look forward to playing Liverpool. That's something you got to look
Yeah, we
look
got that
to look
next
forward
week.
to.
When's that?
I'm not
Next
looking
week?
forward to
Next
it.
game.
I'm not. The only thing I'm swinging about is on my fantasy league. Salah decided to get injured, so didn't get me any points. So spewing.
Oh, you're going to have to wait. It's going to be a long season.
100%.
Our special guest today is Remy Siemsen. How you going?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's good to have you on.
Thanks for having me on.
What's been happening? You just got back from the US?
Did just get back. Well, about a month ago.
About a month ago.
But yeah, I jumped straight into Future Matildas training. So I've been training with them 5 or 6 days a week. So double days like that. I've been enjoying that actually. Keeping me fit before pre-season with Sydney. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got your season launch tomorrow with Sydney FC?
season launch at Luna Park. So looking forward to that. Starting the season next Monday's the first day of pre-season. So really looking forward to just getting back into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take it back and just talk about, your come up in the game because you're still only 19.
Yeah.
And you've had quite the career already at 19. A prospect, I suppose, with a lot of potential. So how did you start with football?
Pretty much my brother started just with the local club. So mum and dad chucked me in because I kept trying to run on the field with him. So they're like, let's just get her in. Started when I was 4, just play with the boys from my local primary school. And then eventually just made my way through the ranks. Eventually ended up at Manly, played all my youth league with Manly United. And just from there got picked up for Young Matildas. And then from Young Matildas got picked up at Sydney FC. And then had my first W League season with Sydney FC. And it just eventually kept going with Young Matildas, and then my W League just was progressing each year. So
And that first season at Sydney FC, you got a Young Player of the Year.
yeah,
How was that?
that was super surreal for me. I actually remember mum and I going to the awards night, and she was just kind of reassuring me like, it's okay if you don't win it. Like she was basically telling me that she didn't think I was going to get it, and I didn't think I was going to get it either. I really did think the other 2 candidates, Nikki Flannery and Alex Chidiac, had a really good season. So I was like, oh, well, we're just going to have a great night. And yeah, they announced it, and mum just looked at me and was like, you won? And I was like, I won? And I was like, what the heck? So I went up, received my award. That was probably like one of the biggest achievements I've had. So it was super surreal for me because I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that first season for you? Because you're only 16 when you
Oh,
were at Sydney FC.
if anything, I was just excited when I'd found out I was even signed, because I'd actually got my contract when I was in China with the Young Matildas.
Yeah.
So I signed it, and I was beyond. It was surreal for me again because I didn't think I was going to be signed that season. I was just told I was going to be a train on. So once I did that, I came back and had my first game, and I played about, I think, 89 minutes of my debut game against Wanderers because someone got a red card. I can't remember who it was, but I jumped straight in. But every single week, I was just taking each opportunity with both hands, whether I was coming off the bench, whether I was starting. I was with so many quality players that I was just so excited to be around that environment. And I just felt like I was just enjoying my football. So everything was coming quite easily because I was having fun. And I was just taking each game by each game. So, yeah, I really enjoyed my first season. Yeah.
That was an interesting story, actually. Do you remember how that all came about?
What came about?
How you going to Sydney?
Yes. So I actually was training on with Western
Wanderers.
Sydney for
Yeah.
6 weeks. Out in Penrith. I'd be up at about 3:15 in the morning, 6 a.m. starts. And the coach was like speaking to me. He didn't actually clarify what I was. So I didn't know if I was a trainer and I was going to be a potential signed player. I had no idea. So I was training full time with them for about 6 weeks, and I made the young Matildas team. And before we went away with the young Matildas, the head coach of Sydney FC gave me a call and like, we want to look at Remy for.
But do you remember that before that?
No.
How you were at Wanderers and you were talking to me how you wanted to go to Sydney.
Yeah.
So then I was messaging Dan.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get back, so then had to get Lena involved. Message Lena, please, can you talk to her? This girl's a good kid. She just wants to come and train with better players.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. This dude wouldn't get back, so the coach at the time wouldn't get back. Finally got back to her, and then at the end of the year trying to claim that he found her and all this and rah, rah, rah.
Yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Pretty much in a nutshell, Steve's just captured what happened that year. So Steve did me a huge solid by, promoting me. But
Because you trained with Steve before.
yes, well, he coached me in an academy at my high school. So he's coached me since I was in year 8.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just progressively did this academy thing, and I was with the boys. He actually used to scare me a lot because I was like, I don't want to mess up.
I
Like,
don't scare you anymore.
nah, not anymore. Not anymore.
Working.
We're on good terms now. Nah, he was such a good coach. I remember he was with Paul Van Beltzen, and I'd look forward to that academy every. Was it 2 days a week, Tuesday, Friday?
Yeah.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'd get so excited. So, yeah, I've worked with Steve for a while, and then it kind of just dropped off for a little bit
I
because
hated it.
you went to Rams, you were head coach, and then you were
Yeah.
Marconi head coach.
Yeah, but we had to be there like 7:15, and it was in
Yeah.
North Shore, so we were leaving here.
bro,
like
that
5
drive.
o'clock.
Yeah.
It was the
Oh.
worst. I used to sleep. Thankfully, Dutchie was driving.
Yeah.
I used to sleep the whole way. Then get there and just be so tired and so
And we'd all be
cranky.
like, and you're like,
Yeah.
stop talking. Like, just shut up and do the drill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. So I've actually known Steve for quite a while.
So it must be all right that you're still friends with him.
Yeah. Good guy. He's a very good guy. I respect him a lot.
So after Sydney FC, you went and tried your luck in the US.
Yes, I did. I, at the time, was considering staying in the NPL again. And we'd just come off our first ever grand final win with Manly United.
Yep.
So it was a massive season for us. We were the underdogs completely, I believe, in that grand final. And at the time, I was getting advice from some national team coaches and W League coaches and a manager at the time. They said, you've done NPL, like you should try overseas venturing. And I was like, okay, like being an 18-year-old girl, I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Like I'd love to go overseas. Everyone wants to play overseas. So they sent me to the WPSL in America, which is the feeder league to the NWSL, because it's the off season for college girls to play over the summer.
Yeah.
So it all just is exposure before their preseason. And I jumped at the opportunity and headed over. And at that time, they'd organised for me to train full-time with Orlando Pride after my season.
Yeah.
So that's really what I was just excited for, because I was like, wow, like,
There's any
look at
reason
this
you're saying that.
star-studded team, And I was living in California and did the WPSL, and I really enjoyed that, getting an overseas experience and stuff like that. I was living with a host family at the time. That was interesting, but apart from that, I enjoyed it, and Orlando Pride was probably the best thing about that whole trip overseas. Yeah, being in that environment with such amazing high quality players. Marta was there, Alex Morgan, Emily Van Egmond, Alana Kennedy, Ashlyn Harris, like you name it. It was just amazing to be in that environment with players of that caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how was that, like the league there, playing in that kind of like the second tier league?
I thought it was really strong. It's quite similar to our leagues over here, I believe. It's very physical and fast.
Yeah.
They do base a lot of their playing off physicality, and I felt like even I was getting bashed up each week with some new bruise, some new kick in the ankle, getting flipped, all that kind of stuff, and that was kind of just let go. So I think what I brought back from that league would have just been another level to my physicality, because that's what they purely were just into, and my fitness just skyrocketed because they're all so fit over there. Obviously, with the college system, they train a lot. So
what was comparing that to, say, for instance, the WNPL?
Yep.
Was it same, better?
How I would describe it is it would be the level between the NPL, just above the NPL, and about just before W League, I would say.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's just because those girls play all the time. And obviously, because it was the exposure league, you had some really high-end college girls playing.
Yeah.
And, all those college girls end up going to the NWSL straight after their college season.
Yeah.
So they yeah, it had high quality games, and then it had lower quality games as you would get in any league.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I'd describe it. It'd be right in the middle between NPL to W League, just that split level.
What about the coaching and?
Yeah, it's different. They
Yeah.
focus on different points in the game, I believe. They're more fitness based, I think.
Okay.
Fitness, fast, and physicality. Not so much technical and tactical as much.
Okay.
That's what I experienced anyway in the WPSL. Yeah.
But did the Americans see that as kind of same thing, or they thought this was tactical for them?
I don't know. I should have asked them at the time, but for me personally, it didn't feel as tactical for an outsider coming in. So they must just be used to that. I don't know if they saw it as if it was tactical.
Yeah.
But I think that they know that they are physical and fast because that's implemented in them as soon as they hit college or as soon as they are in high school. It's all about weight room, fitness, being the fastest on the pitch. Like I see that a lot in the girls that were over there. They were high-end quality players, can finish, can do all that, but they just didn't focus more so on the technical and the tactical side. Like I had to really find a technical coach over there where I could do technical trainings, to add on to it, to the trainings that we were doing.
And so you finished up there, you came back.
Yeah.
And then what happened then?
I actually chose to move clubs to Western Sydney last season. That was a difficult decision for me, but at the time I thought it was time for a bit of change. So I gave that opportunity a go and headed out to Western Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't pan out the way you hoped?
Did not pan out any way that I had planned in my head, but everything's a learning experience.
Yeah.
I definitely learnt from that experience from leaving Sydney and going to another club and experiencing another team culture, team coaches. I think it was good for me that I did do that because nothing's going to be easy. And obviously I wasn't playing as much as I'd hoped for, but I've learnt from that experience and, it's just made me mentally tougher from it. So, yeah.
So you did go to the Wanderers from where you thought you were going to get more minutes and more game time, and that's what you were after.
Yeah. When
you didn't get that and it kind of happened week after week, how was that mentally for you? Like to stay motivated each week and kind of to turn up and put everything in. How was that?
If I'm being brutally honest, I struggled a lot. Yeah, it was hard. We were training all the way out at Marconi, and obviously I live in Belrose on the Northern Beaches, so it was about a 3-hour commute for me to even get to Marconi. And just each week I was training as hard as I could at every session. It just felt like I couldn't get that opportunity to get on the field. So I went and did it. I turned up to every training. I tried to be as professional as I could be, but it was mentally draining for me. I just remember crying to my parents a few times, just like you do get drained from that when you don't feel like it's working out for you. But I kept going to the very end of the season. And I think I grew mentally stronger from it because, you're going to have setbacks. So I'm hoping to have a good season this season. I'm just focusing on that.
Yeah, because I think it's important to let, especially a lot of young players know that it's all right. This is normal.
Yeah.
It does happen to everyone. And it's just about how you kind of deal with it and how you, move forward with it.
Yeah.
And what was the techniques or that you thought worked for you to kind of keep your head in and keep pushing forward every week and not let it stop you, I suppose, because a lot of people could just call it quits.
Yeah.
You didn't quit.
I know that I wasn't the only one in the same boat that was struggling mentally. I know a few young ones were feeling it as well. But personally, I've had a lot of setbacks in my youth league. Like I never made national teams. I didn't really make any of the state teams, anything like that. And I was just like, it's just another page in the book that, this is just what's going to happen. You're going to get back stronger from this, So my parents were a great source of support during that time because, everyone wants to play. No one wants to sit the bench.
No.
So for me personally, I take things really personally.
Yeah.
And my parents were like, look, you can either just, like you said, throw in the towel and get, upset about it, or you can just turn it into motivation and train harder and just get better at each session. And I did that. And I remember coming in to Steve. I wasn't in a good place with you, I don't think either. Like when I was coming in, you were checking in on me. I was a bit not very happy with what was going on, but I'd come in here a lot. I'd get a lot of my frustration out in here, do extra sessions, and then, just turn up to each session. My mentality I could have really just thrown in the towel. Yeah. But I didn't. So I'm glad I didn't because, we're professional footballers. You're not going to get your way every time. So I was happy that I just stuck with it. And obviously it's all a learning experience. Like nothing's going to be a trajectory up. You're going to have some lows and some highs. So yeah.
Yeah, you have to take it all in.
Yeah, you just have to take it how it comes.
Yeah, because I remember seeing some of your sessions with Steve, and Steve, you'd make a mistake and you'd take it out on yourself, and Steve would go, "Stop taking it out on yourself because it's not going to make you any better. Just let it go. Keep going."
Yeah.
It was a tough year last year, obviously, seeing you go through that.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem, and this is a problem we see a lot with coaches, is that they're not giving people reasons why they're not playing. So instead of saying, this is what the problem is, this is why you're not getting minutes, this is what you need to work on, and then you can do it. But you're not getting minutes, you're told your time will come or whatever, and that's not happening. And I know a young girl just recently in the younger national teams was given a reason why she wasn't picked in. I'm not going to say what it was because people will identify her, but the reason she was giving was totally wrong. Like, I work with her on these things and it was wrong. So you've got a girl that they said, this is why you haven't made the team. That reason isn't the reason, because she was like, I wouldn't say competent, I'd say more than competent, like good at that thing. So you're telling this girl she can't, that's why she's not getting picked, because she's not good at that, but she's already good at that. So like, give a legitimate reason why you're not picking people. I was the same with you for game time. But that was a whole messed up situation at Wanderers last year, where agents were sending out contracts to players. Like, the club got agents involved to do like the recruiting and then allocate like funds and that. It was a whole schmozzle that all went down, and then agents managed two different players that played the same position, so then it made it hard.
Yeah.
So that was the behind.
It was a difficult.
Did you manage to speak to the coaches at any time when you were at Wanderers?
I did speak to them. I didn't express what I was feeling. They could probably see that I was upset. I was emotional at a few sessions because there was one game I didn't even get selected. And the reason was I was put on the wing and I didn't quite give the impact they were looking for. And in my head, I was like, well, I'm not a winger. So, I didn't feel like I was a winger at that time. And obviously I'm going to take everything respectfully and accept, that's the coach's decision. I'm not in control of that. But it was really difficult hearing, oh, you're not going to be selected this week and you're not going to be doing this. And it just was like the plan in my head wasn't happening. Yeah. So that just made it even more difficult because I'd put a lot on that season. Yeah. And I was coming off like a pretty happy and good season in the US. I was like, great, I can carry it through. And it just kind of just felt like it backfired and just flipped for me. So mentally, I just struggled with that. But I did have a chat with the coaches at the end. I was just like, I'm just a bit disappointed with how the season went for me personally. I'm going to go probably overseas again and just, I had normal conversations, obviously, with the coaches.
No, I think it's good that you did experience it earlier than probably
later. Yeah.
It's good.
Did you feel like you couldn't really express yourself to the coaches?
I felt like I've always struggled with that anyway because I don't really like confrontation.
But is it because you feel like there's going to be a backlash?
Yeah, I get a bit worried that something, if I do express that I'm upset or I'm disappointed, that can affect me game time wise even more. And I was playing every game besides that one I wasn't selected. I was coming off the bench for about 20 minutes at the end. Yeah. So I didn't even want to risk talking to lose more game time because I don't know how people react in different situations, and I didn't really know how to approach that situation without being upset or getting emotional about it, because I do take things really personal and I can cry at the drop of a hat. Like that's just how I am. So I take it, extremely personal. I didn't really know how to express that to the coaches because I know that they saw that I was upset. Yeah. Even at training, because like you said, even in here, I was getting really negative with myself. Yeah. So that was evident at training as well. Yeah.
Because it was a bizarre year, right? Because even coaches from other clubs were talking to you like after games when you were there, like what is going on. And like it was a tough one because you had a standout season that first year. Second year at Sydney, you were competing for time. So that's what helped you made the move. But everybody still rated you like up here. Yeah. Then you move to the team that's coming last and you can't get any minutes on there. So it was a massive like doing head miles mentally to deal with that. And then it's almost like an embarrassment that you had to deal with it. I'm at Wanderers and I can't even play for Wanderers. Like, and then it's that question of self-doubt. So like Reda said, it is good that it happened so early for you so you can understand it and it's learning from those things because I think you put a lot of trust in what people say and think they've said this, so it must be true 100% and then you run with it. But hopefully we're starting to get past that to understand like people will say what they need to say to get you where they want you and then from there it's not always going to be what they say.
I definitely reckon that's been something that I've had to learn over the years because obviously I didn't go through the institute. I went through Manly and stuff like that where I was with coaches that had known me since I was
They genuinely cared for you.
when I was
Yeah.
9. So they genuinely cared and would tell me brutally honestly, like, we believe that this is great for you to continue. They were all for whatever I wanted to do, but they were like, had my best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And I think I was exposed to another environment where it's just like, it completely flipped on me. And I was like, but you said this.
Yeah.
And it just flipped.
I think it's a cultural problem. I think we have coaches in Australia. I think when they reach a professional standard, they're so distant from their players. They don't communicate enough. They don't give players the time of the day to be able to speak to them. Like, you look at the best coaches like Klopp or Guardiola. They're so close and personal with their players to the point where, you know, they can give them a call at 11 o'clock at night and to discuss things. Like, I think it was, what's his name, midfielder from Liverpool, Dutch fella. Well, not him. He would call Klopp at 11 o'clock at night to discuss what he did wrong at training. And then I think that's part of the problem we have in the country. I don't know if you agree, Steve. You're closer in that field. What do you think?
You can't generalize a whole country.
Yeah, no, not a whole
based on
country,
the
but I feel
experience.
like on a professional field, men
No,
and
but some
females,
professional coaches are very close to their players. Stadge was very close with his players across the board. It just depends on the individual. Then it depends on the experience and then the quality of that coach. So if you're a coach, and this is no disrespect, but it happens a lot in the W League scene, that you haven't really earned your stripes and you've been given a job in that space, then when you're asked to give legitimate feedback, you might not know what the legitimate feedback is and things like that. So it's hard to do, and that's why you pull away and be distant. But yeah, I don't know.
I thought that personally one of the best coaches that would communicate whether you were playing or weren't playing was Gary Van Egmond, who I had with under 20s for 2 years. I felt like I progressed in my football and off the field mentally, just exceeded my expectations of anywhere where I was going to be, except he would sit down, tell you why you weren't playing or tell you why you were playing.
Yep.
But I felt he really expressed and was personal and approachable, that he could tell you ABC, this is why you're not playing, this is why you're playing. And we appreciated it because
100%.
we would understand, like, oh, okay, so we know what we've done wrong. We need to get better at that. And then hopefully we'll get more game time.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the bare minimum players should expect in a club environment. That, and this is youth league all the way through the professional, that if you're not there's a reason why you're not playing. And maybe it's just that there's two players that play the same position, one's better, and they think you're perceived to be not as good as that player. Then you need to tell them like that, and then give them things that they can work on, so they can move forward. But you're in the situation last year where you had a forward that was ahead of you for no other reason, like that was given to you. They weren't scoring goals, they weren't creating things. Your team wasn't scoring goals as a whole, but you still weren't being given that opportunity. Yeah. So it was just a nightmare for you last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so finally it did come to an end, and you went to the US to play another season. Yeah. So how was that?
I personally really enjoyed my time over in America the second time round. I was in a good host family, so that made a massive difference because my first year was a bit different living situation. But the second time round in America, I had almost like this new motivation where I was just like, I want to score goals. I want to play. I want to, work really hard at every session. I was training with boys over there on my extra nights off, who are really, really good boys team over there. So that helped me immensely. And then I was working with sprint coaches, all that, when I was over there. So I just had this newfound motivation and just want to be better and do better, because I didn't want to feel how I felt at Wanderers last season, where I just felt like I wasn't good enough, and I was self-doubt and stuff like that. My whole confidence kind of came back, like on the field especially. I was trying things that I wouldn't really try, So I think it just helped me take that next step forward and just, go, that season's done. Let's move on to this season and look forward to the upcoming W League, because I used the American season as my preseason to W League pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. And you joined Sydney FC. What made you decide to join Sydney FC? Because you did have other options. I did have a few offers from some coaches throughout the W League. I just thought I did get re-offered with Western Sydney as well, stuff like that. I couldn't give an answer right away. Yeah. I really wanted to go through the steps and make sure I'm going to make the best decision for your career, for my career, and for myself, because, players are going to have to do that. You're going to have to go where you think is best. I got opinions from, my family. I always want to discuss it with my family first, because they obviously have my best interests at heart. Yeah. And I even asked Steve, but I had to make the decision while I was overseas, because that's when the offers were really coming in. So
I just decided to go with Sydney because I think it's a great environment to be training in. You're with a high caliber group.
Yeah.
So, I was there from my first season, and it just felt right at this time that this is the best decision to go back to Sydney. I feel like I can improve as a player and as a person when I go back to Sydney this season. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's a good squad, so it's only going to make the competitiveness for positions even more high because you're around people that have played at the highest level. So I'm only going to be learning and improving each week. Yeah.
And what's a goal for this season for you?
I'd love to get, obviously, good game time and just help out the team in any way that I can. I would love to get a few goals this season because obviously I didn't get on the score sheet last season. So just to get a few goals would be a good achievement for myself. Yeah.
And a Matildas call up?
That's might be my all-time dream. I've wanted to play for the national team since I was 4. So I'll just keep working. Obviously, it all depends if I have a good W League and if I have a good off season. So the time will come when it's ready. I'm not gonna force it because you can't force that.
No.
I'm just gonna take it game by game and put in the extra work, obviously, in here and do extras and give me every chance that I can to get a call up. Yeah.
So how's it been training in here with Steve?
I've absolutely loved working here. I think you have the best environment here, and I think that you have the best equipment here to make a player go to the next level. So ever since I've been training in here, I feel like my game has gone to another level because I've been, training with the future Matildas actually, and I've been doing 3 sessions in here, usually a week, 2 to 3, depends when I don't bail on you last second because of work. But I just feel like technically my touch has gotten better and I'm quicker decision. I scan more. Like you just implemented a lot more football specific stuff that I definitely needed to work on earlier, but now I'm bringing it into my game and I can even feel it that I'm a lot faster in decision making and my touch is helping me a lot more. So personally, I think that this is the best environment I've come to, and Steve's always going to be honest with you and he wants obviously your best interest at heart. So yeah, I love working with Steve. I love working in here and I just think that it's improving me. Yeah. I just feel like I'm improving every time I come in here because it's a fitness as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So preparing you. Steve, what's your overall analysis on Remy? You've been working with her for a bit.
Yeah, so obviously
when you were young.
last year was probably the biggest, obviously the downfall in your career. You've had moving through it kind of was an upward trajectory. You were standout in the youth league teams. And then moved into first grade in early age, did well there. I think got leading goal scorer in the NPL at a young age. And then obviously had a good season at Sydney. But yeah, it was disappointing and it was sad as well because you go through it with them to see you go through that last year.
Yeah.
And experiencing that with you. But you went away again. It wasn't something that I really recommended that you go to America. But you've come back and you've looked like you're in a different place, like mentally, physically. It's been looking good so far. Yeah. So I'm excited to see how the season goes.
Yeah, that's good. So how do you find like the women's game in Australia at the moment? Because this is like, we constantly debate the state of football in Australia. So like firsthand, you've come through from youth levels all the way to W League, youth international. What do you think the state of the game is? Where's from when you started to where it is now?
There's definitely more opportunities for girls in the youth league, like the younger age groups, to get more opportunity playing with high caliber players and get this one-on-one training. I never had this when I was younger. It was you're going to go up to the park and kick against the wall. And that's your training, your extra training. So for them to be able to have all this extra stuff and have the opportunity to get better outside with actual football coaches, it's amazing. Like the girls are just going to improve out of sight if they continue this sort of training outside of their own training. I also think that it is improving, and I think that we've got some girls that have really trailblazed the next level of football. Sam Kerr, you see it. She's absolutely trailblazed everything. She's scoring left, right, and center in the American League, which a lot of people debate is one of the top tier leagues in the world. So for her to be able to set that benchmark, I think girls are just trying to aspire to even be like her, be just as good as her, and they've got the availability to do that with this extra training. I also think that the Future Matildas program allows people to train at a higher environment. We didn't really have that. We had Project 22, and then that died out, and then we had Institute, which was I think during my time the be all and end all at that time. Like it was the place to be. But girls are often now staying at their clubs because they've got the SAT programs and they've got this, that. And I think that with those extra trainings, these extra programs, it is getting better. And you can see that from the youth. Like, you see girls come in here and they're excellent players who we were talking about before, who had high caliber reason why she should be in that national team, and she didn't really get the reason. But you see them and they're great players. They're doing stuff that I wasn't doing at that age, but they're doing now. So imagine them in 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that it is improving, and if they keep up with this high intensity environment and training, it's just gonna grow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you excited for the future in Australia?
I am actually, yeah, very excited. I've seen I help out with some coaching I did at Manly, and there was a few girls that I was just like, wow, like I wasn't doing this at your age.
Yeah.
Like, you're scoring bombs from the 18-yard box. I couldn't even kick the ball that high at the age of 12, and they're doing all this and they're training with the boys and they've got all these opportunities. It's just exciting to see what they're going to progress in the future. Yeah.
Okay, so good season, W League. Where do you want to go after that? Would it be back to the US or to Europe?
I've got all options open. Obviously,
Preference. Ideal.
Preference. Yeah, obviously it depends on how well the W League goes, because that's how all the doors open for you pretty much. But I think Steve's right with the push for Europe. We see a lot of girls getting offers now and going over to the Europe leagues. Like, they're only growing. They're getting the most professional environments that you can get. I saw the Arsenal women's facilities. Well, you told me about them. They train where the men train, because it's just Arsenal now. Like, everyone's just in the best environment you can be. So it's only growing in Europe. You see people, 52,000 going to games. Yeah. To a women's standalone game. So it's only getting massive over there. So I think that there is a push to go to Europe now. So I would prefer that, but it's also at the expense that you will not be in the W League for that season, because obviously it's a year. But if that's where the highest of players are going and that's where the best environment's going to be, that's probably where I want to go.
Okay. That's cool. Are you a big football fan?
I was when I was younger.
Yeah.
I can't say that I follow it a lot, like the EPL and stuff like that. I am a Manchester United supporter, so I'm sorry. I was going to say it earlier, but you
follow it either.
I was going to say it earlier, but you were roasting him. So I was like,
in and defended.
I should have, but I kind of was just like, I'm not going to say it now. But
I've been copping of this whole
I was like, you take it, and then I'll mention it later.
This whole podcast, like, since first start day up until now, we have not had any luck.
Look what you're wearing, bro.
Besides the PSG jersey, when we beat PSG, that's the only thing. But yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I do follow Manchester United, but I did jump on that bandwagon when I was little because Ronaldo was there.
Yeah.
That was and once I chose that team, I believe that once you choose a team, you stick with that team. So I've just stuck with Manchester United. So I know you're avid
We're not in
Liverpool.
a good place right now.
No, we're not in a good place. But
told you you'd be a big team in the championship next year. Don't worry.
The biggest team in the championship.
No.
Yeah.
I think we've got mid-table. Wow.
But yeah, so talking about women's football, I watched the mini Matildas the other week, and we haven't spoken about this on the podcast. I watched it. I didn't see any of the first games. Which game did I watch? I seen the North Korea game, and then I seen bits of the other game. I think I spoke to you about this afterwards. I was genuinely angry after watching that. I know this is going to sound extremely negative, but genuinely angry after watching that, the level of players that we have and the level of coaching. Like, I think I counted 5 times where we had possession of the ball and we got it into the other team's half. So not even like creating goal scoring opportunities, but like that's how one-sided it was. And then from that, you would think, then you'd like to read the comments on the Matildas pages and you'd think people would be like realistic, like, wow, we are so far behind these other countries, yada, yada, yada. All the comments were like, well done, girls. I'm so proud of you, yada, yada, yada. Then the moment somebody would try to say, like, did you watch the game? Like, this was the problem. We were dominated. North Korea, like, should have been 10-0 or whatever. Everyone, like, jumps on those people and, like, you're so negative about young girls, yada, yada, yada. And this is never about the young girls. When we talk about the young boys national teams, it's never about the young boys or young girls. They're trying their best. It's about the people that are in control of these teams and the structures that are put in place. Like,
and the selection process.
And the selection processes. There's no way in the world that was the best 16-year-olds or whatever that we have in the country. And like I said, for different reasons, things aren't getting picked. But to see how far we were away from North Korea, and then North Korea didn't even go on to win it. Japan did. And then everyone's jumping up and down. This is our best ever, equaled our best ever result or whatever. Did you go away to Mini Matildas?
I didn't guess. I wasn't even in frame
So I
for
remember
Mini
talking about-
Matildas
yeah.
ever. And I was like,
One of the
I
other
couldn't
girls
believe
the
it.
other day
Yeah.
and saying like they got spanked. But this team, I think they won, was it one game? They won one game, drew 2 and lost 2 or something. And that equals our best ever
Wow.
appearances. And everyone's like raving on and thinking that's good. That was terrible. And just, like I said, I think one of the centre backs did okay. And then the goalkeeper was okay. But just looking at the girls, we're so far out of depth. Like player for player, not one of our players would have made that North Korea team. And just to see the gap that's widening, and now I just don't feel like the right people are putting in places in these national teams, whether it's the boys or the girls, but definitely in the girls' space, to say that these people should be leading our country forward. And I think it's going to get worse. So we've gone from having a vision with Stage to now it feels like Matildas are in limbo. Like there's a coach that's leaving soon anyway, so it's kind of like a stopgap. It's kind of like a waste of time. So players now can try to impress this guy, but then he's gone soon anyway. So then you've got another coach to impress. So it's like waiting for that coach to come in, and then the selections of the squads, and then you see things that are happening and talking to girls. It's just, I could go on about it all day and I could throw some absolute grenades like the one I heard yesterday. But I just don't think the people that are in these positions should be anywhere near where they are.
Well, yeah, and it's disappointing because they're at that age where they're meant to be taught the right things.
But they're impressionable. So they're looking for older people to guide them and give them advice that's in their best interest. And a lot of times it's not advice that's in their best interest. So I could talk about 2 players around those 2 different squads that were given terrible advice. One's just come back from injury, she's been injured for ages. They're trying to get her to force her way back into play straight away, which has been out for a very, very long time. Another one's got HSC coming up very soon and is trying to be spoken into, like just skipping her exam so she can go away with the thing. Like these people are supposed to be leading these girls and leading them forward to become A, better humans, and then B, better footballers, and it's not happening. And my concern is it's going to continue to happen. Like I said, they can't even give kids straight answers about why they're not picked in teams. So if you're not good enough to be picked in a team, or your whatever it is terrible, like, be honest about it and say, these are the reasons why. Or at the end of the day, there's no real reason why you've been picked. I think that goalkeeper's going to do a better job, and that's my opinion. And then that's fine. But to give bullshit excuses about why people aren't picked for teams when that's not the reason, it's like...
Well, not even to give a reason. Ignore the player completely.
It's just, I just think it's a schmozzle. And like I said, watching that Mini Matildas team, no disrespect to them, but just how far away we were from North Korea, and I don't see anything anytime soon that's going to bring that back. Like even the thought of future Matilda program, I know you enjoyed it because it's training or whatever. It's to perceive best players training the best players, but is it the best coaches? Is it the best sessions? Like are you getting things out of it? And the amount of feedback we've worked with the majority of the girls that are in that space, there's not too much positive. Yours is positive. Yeah. But you've only been back for a
I've only
while.
been back for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So I was training with them for 4 weeks full time.
Yeah.
So from my last 4 weeks, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I like that high intensity environment.
Yeah.
And we were doing very hard sessions because this is their preparation for pre-qual or qualifiers for the World Cup. So we were doing a lot of games, a lot of fitness, and I like that stuff. So I enjoyed that part of it, but I wasn't there from the start of the program, so I don't know.
So the feedback all along is like the players, it's like doing a session for the sake of doing a session. These players aren't getting better. I'm not seeing players going into these things and they come back and like, wow, you're a million times better than what you were. You're tired and things like that, but you're not better than what you were. And we've got coaches in these spaces that haven't been coaching for 10 years and are expected to have the experience to guide that next generation and make us a powerhouse. I think it's laughable that these things are happening, and hopefully changes are made in the near future that will put people in these positions that deserve to be there and that have paid their dues to get there.
Yeah. I agree. And like you said, they're impressionable. You need the right people in.
Yeah, 100%.
To start them. And there's nothing... I think that the other point was no one's having a go at the girls because they can only do what they can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the thing. But you got to start treating them like you would the boys.
Yeah, but it's not that. Like the expectations, if the Matildas play shit, they play shit. Like they should be said, they are. Same as the Socceroos do. Nobody has a hesitation calling out the Socceroos. No. So why should you have hesitation calling out the Matildas? It's not a gender thing. It's a team thing. Yeah. You're passionate about your sport, so you want those things. Same as with the young national teams. We want young national teams doing well. Yeah. Whether it's boys or girls, if they're not doing well, then we need to ask questions why. We're not asking questions of the players. They're only young and they're impressionable. Obviously, they're at that elite level. But you're asking, as you said, of the team selections, are the best players being selected? The best players aren't being selected for these teams. No way in the world. Are the best coaches in those spots? No, the best coaches aren't in those spots. So what is happening here and what's the direction? How's it going to get better? I don't know how it's going to get better, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good point. And hopefully it does change. Yeah. But we have to wait and see if it does. Mm-hmm. And we hope for the best. in this
See the
scenario.
progression. See
That's
the
all we can
progression
do.
of
But yeah,
everything.
it's just progressing. So hopefully it does progress in the right way and
Mhm.
things do change.
I hopefully see Siemsen scoring some goals this year.
Let's hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the plan.
Thanks for coming on. We do hope you have an awesome season this year, and
Thank
we'll
you.
be watching you. And obviously, Steve will be making sure you're in the best shape and best form.
Yep.
20 goals season, you reckon?
20 goals. Oh my goodness. I'm no Sam Kerr. That's crazy. Nah, I'm just gonna try and go for one, and then hopefully some will come after it. But thank you for letting me come on the show. I really enjoyed it. So
It's good to have you.
yeah,
on.
thank
Pleasure.
you. Thanks.
Now let's go train.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go train right now.
See you guys.
So